Radiothon for the Macquarie Homestay Dubbo, and we're joined in the studio now. We've got President of the Bourke Rotary Club, Leonie. How are you?
I'm well, Rod. How are you?
Good. And are you still with the Rotary Club Dubbo South?
I am.
Have you ever been?
I am. I've been there for over 20 years now.
Matthew Dickinson, good to see you in the studio.
Yeah, Rod, we talk on the phone every week, but it's good to see face to face, isn't it?
It is. And we've got David Sharp. He's the breakfast announcer at Outback Radio 2WEB. How are you going today,
Well, and nice to see the building is busy and the bids are still coming in. And you've been doing a fantastic job this morning, and yeah, we're all in this till 5 o'clock. So I know that as we get closer, to the end of the radiothon, it's just going to be busier and busier. In fact, Matthew, I was telling someone it'll be like probably an eBay auction. People are sitting back and waiting, and as you know, the last hour or so, it's going to be nuts. I think.
I hope so, and that's obviously the idea. We want it to go nuts at the moment. We're getting a bid once every 20, 30 seconds. They're coming in, and we've got the total. You've got it behind me. I can't see it, but you can see it behind me there, Rod.
63,256.
There you go, perfect. So it's ticking away, but I absolutely agree with you that it'll start to ramp up and people will be sitting back waiting, and they've got their eye on a few things there, and then what we hope happens is that they'll start to really put those bids in solid at the end, because we're still hoping. Leonie had a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal of $100,000, and I still reckon we have a pretty good chance of getting there.
Oh, look, we never know. We could get there, but anyhow, as close as we get is great. And any support that people, listeners out there can contribute, we really appreciate that.
Well, I think the fact that we cracked $50,000 is a milestone that we could all be very happy with. The fact that we're now well over $60,000 is
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that people are bidding, and as Leonie mentioned a moment ago, you have to thank the generosity of the listeners who are bidding and donating money, and also the business houses who have given items to be auctioned off in tandem with this, and of course acknowledgement to the Rotary Club for doing an amazing job in gathering items to be auctioned off.
Well, that is an amazing effort. The bidders are out there doing a great job. There's about 170 registered bidders now. But the business community, again, when Leonie said to me initially she'll get 200 items, I almost scoffed a little bit, and Leonie said, no, we'll get 200 items. Well, easily 200 items. It's past 200 items. So the generosity of the community, of the businesses in Bourke and the surrounders, people from other locations that have donated items as well, more than 200 items donated for an auction, that's incredible.
And the technology and the wizardry of this online auction.
Without Matthew Dickinson, we would have been lost. He has been an absolute legend in pulling all this together, and we really appreciate the work that you've done, Matthew, to do this, and coming here today to assist. It's made a hell of a difference. Rod, we know what it was like in the old days when we did these online radio auctions. Well, we didn't do online, we did on air, and we were receiving phone bids and had the whiteboard and the. I don't think we even had Excel spreadsheets at that time. It was probably, pen and paper. So this is making it so much simpler. And people can come down today and have a look at some of the auction items that we have here. And we've got the big screen, and we can watch this as it scrolls through to who's bidding and what the prices are. It's fantastic.
I think the thing that makes that even more impressive, Rod, is that before it started, before today, before 9 o'clock this morning, when you went on air and started really pushing this, there was already $50,000 in the bank. And Leonie told me about the old days, which sounded like a great experience, the old radiothon with the whiteboard and people ringing in. But at 9 a.m. when you started on that day, you had zero, and you had to start from zero. Well, today we start at $50,000, which is a great start, which hopefully makes it even easier to get to that $100,000.
You're not wrong, Matthew. It's been over 20 years since I was involved in a radiothon, and only 2 of them in my early days here. And it was exactly as Leonie described. You'd have a whiteboard. People would be ringing through. You'd have to take all of their details. Most every item, you couldn't view anything on the internet. You had to describe everything in ways that people understood. And those days too, even that we have items here for people to look at. If you're around, pop in and have a look, and you can see some of the items yourself, if not on the auction website. But literally, you had either to listen to the description on the radio and decide whether you wanted to bid on something, or pop into the studios and have a look where all the major items are on display. So And you're right, probably no Excel sheets back then. Leonie, I think it was probably Sess or somebody would have had a ledger and just trying to keep track of everything. So
Oh, it was the old days back then, wasn't it?
it was. Don't you worry about that. Old school, definitely. So with your help, Matthew, you've taken the Radiothon concept and brought it right up to modern day 21st century.
But it still relies on 2WEB, and that's the secret here. I think the work you've done to get to this point, to advertise it, obviously that's helped Leonie with the donations coming in, that's already helped the bidders start, and then today to dedicate the entire day to it, I think is fantastic from 2WEB. So whether it's the old-fashioned whiteboard with the old-fashioned radiothon or using modern technology, it still relies on someone to get the message out there, and obviously you've done that very well.
And also people to respond with their generosity by bidding and making donations, which they can do that also, I believe, Matthew, on the auction website. There are items there for everyone. So, if somebody can't find something they want to bid on, they'd be pretty darn picky, in my opinion. But some people may just want to make a $10 or a $15 or a $25 donation, and they can do that right on the website.
Yeah, so once they go to radiothon.tour-to-orock.bike, once they're there, they can register, and that lets them register for donations, to bid on the items, and the variety, David, the variety of items, you're right. If you can't find something that you can bid on there, you're not really having a look. So you've got so many things that are very specific to Bourke. You've got splashy cola, so you can go and bid on something like that. You've got meat from Bourke's Butchery, but you've got holidays in Sydney. You've got Blue Mountains Escapes. You've got so many different things. Obviously, there's 200. I'm not going to list them all, but the variety of things, that's what I have been impressed about. Just so many different things there that are different, unique, interesting, just so many different things. So go to that radiothon.tour-to-orock.bike.
Now tell me, let's just move it to the Toyota Tour to Orock. You instigated that one as well.
So back in 2013, Rod Crowfoot, who was heading up the committee at the time to start raising money for Macquarie Homestay, it wasn't called Macquarie Homestay back then. It was an idea that was started by the former mayor of Cobar, Lillian Brady, and Dawn Fardell when she was a member for Dubbo, for somewhere for ladies to go when they were pregnant, getting close to having a baby, because unfortunately, and as Lillian told the story, Cobar women were having babies in ambulances or in planes with the Royal Flying Doctor Service because they'd leave it too late to go and stay in Dubbo getting ready to have a baby. So it started off from that concept, and obviously it's grown. But in 2013, Rod spoke at an OROC meeting. So we had 12 councils around an OROC meeting and said we would need to raise some money for this facility. And I just had a bit of a random idea. I thought, maybe we could do a bike ride, which seemed like a nice, pleasant idea at the time. And I spoke to Rod afterwards and I said, maybe we could just do something along these lines. Look, I'll get together with the councils and get the mayors involved. And in that very first one, we had every mayor on a bike for some distance. Some of them rode 10 or 20 kilometres. I think Andrew Lewis was the mayor of Bourke at the time. He rode for about 40 kilometres. Didn't speak to me for a couple of weeks afterwards because his bottom was so sore.
He wasn't speaking out his bottom, was he?
But we got all the councils involved. And in that first one, we raised $176,000. And on the back of that, the Cobra Transition Fund money was around at the time, so that allowed them to show the community support and the fundraising that had happened. And next thing you know, we had millions of dollars come in from the state government for Macquarie Homestay. That got it all started fantastic. And I thought it was a one-off. That was my concept, of like, let's do this as a one-off to get it started. But somehow we got it roped into being a biennial event. So it's run 2013, then 15, 17, 19. It was going to run in 21, but of course we had a little COVID thing pop up. So it then became 22, 24. But we're back on odd years this year. So this year, 6th, 11th of October, we'll be doing it again. We'll be coming through Bourke. And Bourke has traditionally been, every year, the best fundraising town that we go through. And we go through lots of different places, but Bourke has always been the greatest supporter of Tour to Orock, which is fantastic. But a lot of Bourke people use the facility at Macquarie Homestay as well.
All right, well, we better get to the news for 11 o'clock. Leonie, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rod, and thank you to the Bourke Men's Shed who are cooking a magnificent barbecue out the front. So if any of the listeners would like to come in and buy a sausage sizzle, I'm sure that they would appreciate that. And all donations to the Men's Shed today go to the Macquarie Homestay also.
Matthew, thank you for your time.
Always my pleasure, Rod. I can see your sausage sandwich sitting behind you, ready for you.
Yes. And David Sharp, we'll catch up with you again very soon.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Rod.
There we go. It's the Macquarie Homestay on Outback Radio 2WEB Radiothon. Go online and check it out, outbackradio.com.au or Outback Radio 2WEB on Facebook.